Konnichiwa. Welcome to MegoxCast. I am your host, John, joined by
Jimothy.
yes, for this episode. Today we will talk about modern dating. Now, Jimothy, talk a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, guys? I don't know. I'm just a person, man. There isn't really much to say. Uh, I just enjoy normal things, I suppose, like television and video games and going to the gym and my favorite hobby is probably like making music, anything music related. That's kind of my passion. So that's about the gist of who I am ultimately.
Does the music give you mad Rizz?
I mean, it's not like I It's not that's a funny question, but it's not like I use it in that context, honestly. Um, I mean, it doesn't help that I'm, like, not the most social person. Like, I like to kinda keep to myself a lot and do my own thing. Not to say that I'm, like, incapable of socializing with people, it's more like I prefer to be alone, but, yeah, so I don't really get an opportunity really to, like, show people that, and I'm kind of, like, kinda private about it too, like, especially in person, I just kinda like to, play music by myself and whatnot, but yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, not particularly, but I feel like it could be a powerful tool if utilized properly.
All right, yeah. We just gotta figure out how to use it properly, all right?
I
Okay.
mean
What's up?
I'd probably just have to, like, I don't know, go out in public and, like, start playing,
Yeah, touch grass.
basically.
Yeah. You should you should touch grass right now. No, don't leave the call. All right. Anyway, let's go to the first part of this episode. The good old days. Am I right, ladies? Am I right, gentlemen?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think everyone watching this is probably gonna have no idea what that would look like because, well,
Yeah, we're
I
all
s
Gen Z. I mean, you're Gen Z.
I am Gen Z. You're Gen Z as well, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do we even have an idea of what constituted dating back then?
I mean, all we have is just, like, fucking, like, TV shows from, like, the '90s or even beyond that, and then we have our parents, obviously. You can see how, like, those dynamics are a bit different, like, when you observe, like, boomer couples, they're definitely, like they definitely have a different vibe, I feel like, to them, a different dynamic,
Could
different
you
expectations.
could you describe that the vibe and the expectations?
I'd have to think about that for a second. Hmm, I don't know, it almost seems like like, it's a little more structured, I suppose, like, it's just kind of like and it's almost like they seem a little more comfortable with each other maybe, um, and it seems like there's not to say, like, toxic relationships don't exist across generations, but it's almost kinda like, like, they're friends with each other, as should any healthy relationship be, but, they kinda just I don't know how to describe it really, it just seems kind of, like, it's almost like when you watch, like, a sitcom and you, like, see, like, older couples together and there's just kinda like that, like, slapstick kinda vibe where, like, the wife's like, "Oh, my husband's always sitting on his ass eating a sandwich, and well, but I love him still, and he comes back home from work and blah, blah, blah," and, like, it's just I don't know. Like, it just seems like one of those, like, sitcom relationships that you see, for instance oh, yeah, in that '70s show, like, Kitty and Red, they got that dynamic, like, alright, they like to fuck, okay, pretty clear about that. And then, they're pretty chill with each other at home, and then they like, the kids are a pain in the ass. Um, and they're not afraid to like talk shit to each other. And I don't know, it's like when you see like modern day couples, I don't know, it might be a little different, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a stretch. I have to really think about this. But I'm like rethinking my entire opinion on this matter now.
Well, I mean, do you think there are some like things from back then that kind of caused this, like, the maybe the strength of religion back then, over
Oh, that's a great
communities
point.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
A great point. I think that kept people as no offense to people that are religious, it's not really my
Yeah, of
cup of
course
tea.
not.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's not my cup of tea, but I can see how it brings people together and, you know, forms, like, strong senses of community. And like you said, I think it was more prominent back then, and I think a lot of relationships possibly started from within those communities. And, you know, of all the religious people I know together, real say what you want about religion as a whole, I will say that a lot of those couples, at least the ones that I've witnessed in my life, pretty strong.
Yeah. I
So
I would I was just saying because, they always advise against you know, like doing anything before you're married and stuff like that, and being with one person your entire life. And in some ways
yeah,
that's not the best, you can't, make your decision, you know. Sometimes, you're just in the wrong place, or you're just maybe not even the wrong mindset, just like you guys change later on, and that's not
yeah,
I mean, you guys were good for a time, but not
right.
for yeah.
I
So,
think I think that's definitely the crux of starting like your like long term relationships early without a whole lot of relationship experience. I mean, it works out for some people, but a lot of times it seems like I don't know. I think it depends on the couple, but like you said, people change. Like a lot can happen in 20 years. Even if you love somebody,
mhm,
lots can happen.
yeah. I'm trying to think about like other aspects of the good old days. I don't know. I keep saying that. That
That's
might
okay.
have
I
made it.
mean,
I think it's just because of just the lack of internet. People had to be around each other. You know.
oh, for sure. Absolutely. That was another thing. You were kind of forced to like, because I mean, I don't know, like no one really had the option to like rot in their basement on their computer all day. It was kind of like, read a book, maybe listen to an album, hang out with your family. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to sit on my computer for 8 hours straight and just kind of like rot away on Reddit. That was never like an option. So people had to figure out ways to be like entertained, going to hangout spots, hanging out with your friends, networking. That was all like so much more natural back then.
Yeah. I can see that too. It's just like, you know, it was just a lack of, the internet. You had to be, close together. You had to talk to each other. To be honest, I'll talk about this more at the end. It's just overall, I don't feel like it's too much different now. I just feel like it's individuals that just decide to do certain things and act a certain way. And that's just more prevalent nowadays than it was
Yeah.
back then. And that's
I,
just how I feel about it in general. But I'll obviously go into it more later on.
I mean, it does seem like, I don't know, it seems like the prevalence of like super fast paced, instant gratification society has made everyone just kind of scared of like the slow burn process of developing a strong, healthy, long lasting relationship. Like, just seems like everything's way too instantaneous.
Hmm. Yeah, we can go into that too. Now, the inciting
Yep.
incident. How do you
Absolutely.
feel was the inciting incident
Are
of
you
the
ready to like? Yeah, are we done with this topic? Do you want to like
yes.
go
Yeah,
into
I
further
just
detail
yeah, I
now?
already yeah, I already started. That's where I'll probably put the time code. So,
Hello,
what do you think the inciting incident is?
hello.
Hello? Hello? His might
I
be out.
cannot hear you.
I know you're can't okay, we cannot spend that much time doing this. So, 1 second. Your thing because I am talking. So, Yeah, so I don't know why you can't hear me. One
Hello,
second.
I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know what I'll do in editing because I don't edit these. Anyway, so
I can post it.
inciting incident is what would you think? What do you think the inciting incident is?
Of what, the change?
Yeah, the change.
Well, I think once the internet became, like, highly accessible and also just highly streamlined,
Hmm.
I think that's when everything became and then people started getting business ideas of, "Oh, how can we capitalize on, you know, the social aspect of human nature, make a profit off of it, um, and whatnot." I think because I mean, there was a period of time where people on the internet were, like, considered weird and, like, it was kind of a niche thing, like, everything took forever to, like, load, and people were still going outside 'cause it wasn't, like, the most convenient thing, but now we have computers in our pockets, and it's just, like, the norm.
Hmm.
So I think that was about it. Once things became easier to access for the average person, uh, yeah, everything just started to change.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, humans are made to, explore and to, venture out. But when we create things to make it so that we don't have to do that, you know, it kind
Yeah,
of stops our progression.
a little bit. I think it's ironic, like, it's like we are advancing in a sense,
Hmm.
but it's almost like our very advancement is causing us to regress, It's really ironic.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like even if you, like, watch the movie WALL-E, like, WALL-E was kinda based, I'm not gonna lie, because in WALL-E, you see all those fat people just, on the floating little, like, whatchamacallits, the floating benches, like sun benches or whatever, like pool benches,
Hmm.
and it's like, yeah, everything just became convenient, and it was like that was their new way of life. They no longer had to do anything. And that's kind of what's happening with us. We no longer really have to go out. I mean, like we can even break the fourth wall here. Like your server, I think, is an example of this. You're like moderating an entire online community, and these people are interacting with one another. And not to say that I don't know any of these people really, like personally on a personal
Hmm.
level, but it's like you're giving them an option to, like, not necessarily go out, like, if they don't if, if it's not convenient to go out, oh, they have this Discord community all of a sudden, and, they get all their needs met, so to speak,
Yeah.
socially, or at least a good chunk of them, right? A comfortable amount of needs met online.
Yeah,
So
I
I
feel
think
so. Yeah.
so I think that's definitely, like, yeah.
I mean, like, if you think about it, though, I think all of civilization, we've been trying to make our lives easier, but at the same time, when does that go too far?
Right, exactly. I'm
Like, when
I'm
does
worried
that
I'm honestly worried about the future in
Yeah,
that
when does
respect.
that get into, you know because when does that get into, like, these, situations where people are just not meeting up with people anymore and just not developing good social skills? I mean, if you think about it, everyone on, like, Discord and stuff, like, call them your, like, Discord kitten or something like that, saying weird stuff. The agent consent meme of Discord mods, you know? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously it's a joke, but
hey,
you
there's
never know.
usually a grain of truth in
And
every joke.
yeah, if you think about it, that's I mean, we'll talk more about this when we get to social media. It's just there's a thing about, like, the anonymity or just like being able to hide your identity that causes a lot of this stuff. I think
Oh,
we
for
can actually
sure.
talk about one thing though, like, like something like EDP or something like that. Just a creep.
Yeah, he I mean,
That's what makes the I mean, that's not real. That's not dating because that's just you know predation. But at the
yeah,
same time, you know these things led to that, and in his messed up mind, he might see this dating, and that's another thing too. This entire thing just affected people's idea of like, oh, I can take advantage of this, situation even more. Like, I don't even have to know the kid, because a lot of the times, when those situations happen, it is a family member or like, a friend of a family. I don't want to get
That's
too much into
pretty
it, but at the same time, like, it's it's just enabling these people.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it just kind of provides a platform
Yeah,
for it
exactly.
easier. It's just easier.
Hmm.
Um, I was gonna say there was something I wanted to touch upon, but I'm like spacing out.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about with this inciting incident? Like, that's the main thing we're talking about. Like the beginning of the the end. Like what
Yeah. Yeah, I just
might
kind
have.
of blame, shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. Nice job, dude. You
You really
fucking
think he messed up when he made Facebook?
I mean, here's the thing, dude. I think
Would you rather
Facebook
if he just kept with Hot or Not
I don't know if that would have ever
or
blown up,
Face Smash, whatever it was called? You know what I'm talking about.
Here's the thing, like, I think Facebook has its uses. Look, it's done a lot of good for our society in a sense. Like, it's connected lots of people who, potentially would have never been connected otherwise. But because it blew up so much, it almost seems like, I mean, maybe not as much now, but there was like a good period of time where it was almost like people relied on Facebook. And it was like everything was about Facebook. Facebook this, Facebook that. Their entire social lives, although, maybe they had their social lives outside of the internet, like Facebook was just like this common hub that just kind of streamlined all of it. And then, after Facebook, Instagram came along and it started off as just about posting pictures. And then it became about communicating with people and sending messages. And like if you think about it now, like think about where these apps started and think about how they evolved. Like I remember when I first got Instagram, it was just about pictures mainly, and then it became basically like a second phone number, uh,
Yeah.
which is
I mean,
wild.
think about it though. Think about it though, Jimothy. You know, the just the fact that people can, talk to people from all over the world is also like the reason why we did it. But at the same time, people are, texting people that they already know, or or just
Yeah,
it's kind of complicated. Like, because in one way it's good, but in the same way, in other ways it's bad. And I think we'll go into that when you go into the other topics.
yeah, absolutely.
So I
Um,
think we can actually, unless you have more stuff to say about this inciting incident thing.
I don't think I really have anything to say about this topic because I feel like everything else I could say about the topic probably pertains to what we're going to be covering next, anyways.
All right, so let's go into dating apps. The
Ah,
birth of just catfishing and just you know, swiping
so
right, swiping left.
I'd say from a business
One night
standpoint,
stands.
like I'd say from a business standpoint, absolutely brilliant idea. I'd say from a social aspect or effect on society, I really don't think it was a. I honestly kind of think it was a fuck. It's fucked up. Like I feel like we're living in an age where like dating apps are kind of like a social experiment inadvertently. Um, and it's just like it's just crazy to think like it's like we condensed like normal human interaction into like this app that's like pure I mean, for the most part, it's purely physical, at least initially, like, it takes out that human aspect of, like, feeling someone's energy and, you know, getting to know them and, their little, nuances and, learning, not only how they look, but also, who they are, and I think all of that in conjunction is highly important and, trying to find someone to start a relationship with, and I think these apps because of that, kinda turned into, like, hookup apps, but then, people would go on there in the hopes of, like, trying to find the love of their life, and that has happened, but when you have, like, all of these people on this app, it's like it's just I feel like it's bound to go south because it's not natural. It feels weird. It's a weird concept,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, if you think about it, the apps aren't, gonna say everything about this person, you still have to meet them, you still have to go on a date with them. That's kind of like the whole thing. I think it does I think it does make it easier in the sense that you don't have to do that first meeting stage, you know what I'm saying? Before the
Yeah, I mean,
date. But some people are just really good, they have mass Rizz, they can just go up to a girl and be like, "Hey, you wanna go to, like, Menchie's right across the street," or something like that? Then they get it right there.
it's interesting that you mentioned that. I think that's like definitely more of a current generation like issue, because if you because like it's interesting you mentioned the whole idea of like that I feel like we're a lot more anxious as a generation just because of just the nature of how we all interact. Everything's way too accessible, way too instant. There's lots of pressure to like respond quickly, XYZ. Uh, you don't like there's this whole other like mental game, this whole other meta that you have to consider when messaging other people. Uh, there's whether it be social media, texting. Anyways, I'm rambling, but I'm trying. Hold on, where I like totally. I'm trying to tie this back out. Oh yeah. So, although yes, it definitely reduces anxiety because you're just like, whatever. You're just texting people, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Um, it feels more comfortable because there's no actual voice uh there, but I feel like it kind of hurts in the long run too because it's like you feel like you're getting to know someone, but then like in person they might behave completely differently than they text, and it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not really comparable to like meeting someone. It might be a bit of a struggle initially when you meet somebody, and it might be like kind of awkward, but I feel like it's a lot more. I don't know. It's just a lot more helpful towards growth, like personal growth when you're interacting with someone, because you kind of have to be out of your comfort zone, uh, and just kind of just toughen it out, and then eventually you get comfortable, and then you're actually in person with someone, which I think is a lot more valuable than texting someone or calling someone.
Yeah.
Um, because I think about it, like, look, I can't speak for everyone's dad or mom, but like again, they weren't like sitting around on the internet all day, so they had to interact with each other. So it was probably a lot more normal to just be like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like just talking to people.
Mhm.
Probably just a lot more comfortable because that's like what else were you fucking doing?
Yeah. When it comes to dating apps too, it's like, the fact that there's like a paywall is a little weird because, if you think about it, it's, basically they're paying, yeah, they're asking for money so that they can reveal who likes you or
Oh, it's very
just
manipulative.
a bunch of all these things. And the thing is, it's like, if these apps really wanted to help, why not just be free? Well, because not everything in life is
Yeah.
free, especially when people find ways to make money off of people that just want to find love. They target like certain people.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's the whole design of Tinder, man. Tinder doesn't give a shit about anybody. They don't care if you find love. That's not what they're trying to do. They just need enough people to find love, so that people don't trash their app. And then, they also have to have enough desperate people willing to shell out those pennies in order to, promote their account. But it's like there's a whole algorithm behind it. There's like an underlying like score, dude. Like if you think about MMR in a video game, like your invisible like ranked score, there's that exists with Tinder accounts too. More accounts or certain accounts are pushed more than others, and there's things you can do that kind of like penalize your account, and like people that have less quote unquote ELO, right? Like they they might feel more inclined to pay these ridiculous prices, and they tier it too. So there's like different tiers you can get, where one where you can see your likes, one where you get priority likes, but that's a bit more. And it's just like this whole it's a scam. It's a scam. Like they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Mhm. They do. And
Like, why would a company wanna help? They just wanna help. They
their
just wanna help
pockets.
enough. They do wanna help their pockets. They know that they just need to help enough to get like, to get you invested, but not enough to actually get you or yield you, like, any meaning or yield everyone meaningful results, you know? If it was
Exactly.
if it was truly utilitarian, then, like, Tinder would be doing God's work, but they don't give a shit, man.
You know what they should do? They should just do that for a whole month. Just, like,
What?
make it so that, you can see who likes you can swipe as many times as you want, you can, you can go back or whatever to ones that you've seen, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, it would be cool, but they don't they want money, so
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm honestly curious to see, like, what their margins are like because, you know, it might be one of those things where they could very well afford to do that and still make an insane profit, like, hell, they could make, like, just, like, 1 tier and then, like, unlock some of the other ones for free for a little bit, and I can guarantee you they're still gonna be making money off of that 1 tier. At this rate, they've probably generated an insane amount of revenue and have made an insane amount of profit. That I don't know. I find it hard to believe that, like, at this rate, those tiers are, like, barely sustaining the company, and it's, like, an absolute necessity, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need to do anything that they're doing when it comes to money, but they do. I mean, I think it's also just to pay the developers too, maybe there are, like, certain reasons, but at the same time, I think it's kind of funny that Facebook dating is considered the only, like, in some ways, like the only free dating app. It doesn't ask for any money. You can't pay for it. And but it's not that
Interesting.
good.
I don't think I've ever hopped on that before.
It's I'd say probably better than most.
Like
No, I'm
things
kidding.
like
I'm kidding.
OkCupid and whatnot, all those
No,
kind
I'm
of
kidding.
like
I would say though it's for people that have Facebook. So you
huh,
know how
who
popular
would have
Facebook
guessed?
is. That's the thing too. It's like I wonder if I mean they can't. The thing is, you can do it for Facebook because most people don't lie about their age on Facebook. You know, but people may lie about their age on like Instagram or something. But if they did that for Instagram, that would get a lot more people on there. You know,
Dude, as far as I'm concerned, people use Instagram essentially as a dating app, like they
but
build up their portfolio of photos and then they just, they like DM people.
yeah, that's the problem though. Like DMing people. If you haven't met them before, I guess
Yeah, it
maybe
can
get.
definitely be perceived as weird.
It's also not like a personal thing. You don't have their number,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It seems a little too parasocial to text them like that. But now that we're talking about these social media apps, do you want to go into that, or do you have more stuff to talk about with dating apps?
Hmm. All I have to say is that I just think that they're I don't know. I think a lot of guys go on there not knowing what to expect. I think that you're gonna be disappointed. Like, chances are you're probably not gonna meet the love of your life on Tinder.
Wait, really?
And yeah, right? But I
Oh,
mean, even then, like someone in a relationship, like, like you're just or no, getting in a relationship, I mean, like I would say it's pretty far fetched. You might get some dates, you
hmm.
might get some one night stands, but a
I
legit
mean, that's all you're
relationship,
looking for, right, Jimothy?
I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
I'm kidding.
No, I mean, hey man, if like, if it's one of those situations where it just kind of works out for both parties and like I suppose, but I wouldn't say that's like the
Your
main thing
mo.
I'm no. I mean, honestly, like, preferably, it would be cool to find someone that I have a lot of things in common with and, to be in, like, a healthy, loving, committed relationship, but I don't know. It seems like it's hard to come by these days. I don't know. I
No,
think
I'm
people are scared, more
scared.
scared than usual. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, they're so scared, James. They're so scared. So scared, Jimothy. All right,
I think people
let's
are
go.
scared. I think they are scared
They are.
because it's like, why commit when you don't have to as readily anymore?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, talk about social media. So, how do you think it affects, people's relationships and dating nowadays?
I mean, hell, we could talk about social media in relation to just overall society if you want. I feel like that would be a better thing to talk about when we talk about this portion, if that's all right with you.
What are you talking? Just social media, or what are you talking about?
I mean, because I don't know.
We
I feel
can
like we
go
should,
more broad into it, but we should still focus too on the dating.
sure. Well, I
But
mean, I
yeah,
think with social media, I mean, if anything, dude, like I consider Tinder a form of like social media. Um,
not really. I mean, the problem with okay, dating apps
either
are
way,
definitely different in the sense that dating apps are meant to be in a game sense. Like Instagram's not really a game, it's like a forum, but like, Tinder and all them, they have like a thing, an activity that you have to do, you
yeah,
know.
that's
And
true.
then to have your things, you got to like swipe right, swipe left, that kind of thing. So, I feel like in that sense, it's different, and you can't access stuff all the time on these apps, but you can on social media, you know? But
Yeah,
we can the thing about social media is more people will see your profile on social media than on dating apps to an extent. Now, people on dating apps, of course, are gonna, see your like profile, and maybe it's people that will never see you ever again or whatever. But I feel like with like Instagram, Facebook, they'll be seeing your profile more than on the dating app,
yeah,
So that thing. I mean, let's be honest here, when people are in relationships, they share a lot of their, you know, essence and a lot of their like hanging out together and a lot of how they feel about each other. But a lot of people say that when they do that, that means that they're not in a good place. They're trying to overcompensate for it or, just pretend it's okay.
right.
Because what's up?
Yeah, you're saying like in the sense of just like social media, kind of just depicting like idealistic versions of people's lives. Is that what you're trying to touch
I
upon?
mean, yeah, that's basically what everyone says. And what I'm also just saying is that, you know, uh I feel like it affects people only in how they react to it, but also like how they end up deciding to live the rest of their lives, People could be saying like, I don't have this kind of relationship with this person, But
Right, and it might impact their thinking, like their
yeah.
long.
But at the end of the day, I will have to say, I do feel like it's up to the individual to realize that what they see is, could be fake or whatever, and whatever you're experiencing, most likely, definitely, someone else has experienced it, and understands the nuance and everything. So you can't really you can't really blame these people for showing these you know fake facades while you're just feeling bad that you don't have that because you could just self-assess that's just not where you are right now, and
Yeah,
that you'll figure something out.
I think it's one of those things where like if you're I think social media can really be detrimental for mental health because um, what's it called? We are, if we're constantly surrounded by it on a daily basis, And, it's like almost like, yeah, it might not affect you always in the moment, but I feel like getting those, like, repetitions of just viewing all this stuff constantly just, like, affects your subconscious in a pretty negative way because, you on in the moment, you might be able to, like, cope with it and be like, "Oh, yeah, whatever, it's not that," but maybe deep down inside, you'll be slightly bothered by it. And it's like if you take all the little micro interactions you were, like, bothered by, uh, I feel like it adds up in ways on your subconscious a lot heavier than you'd initially realize.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel that way too. I mean,
It's just
I
good. I've
try to.
found it's good to stay away from
The
it for
thing
sure.
with but the thing with, social media is I don't see how it can tie because you said something about broader scopes, and I think you can touch more into that so I can elaborate more on it because
Uh,
I
you
don't
mean
think, what's up?
you said just talk about social media, like,
The
in
broader
term
strokes because I remember you saying, like, a second ago, like, you not to get away from the dating, but at the same time, you could talk about, like, how it affects it overall, like society or something. You said something like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I just think it gets to a point where, like, you sit down and think about it for a second. As much as it's a good like, look, human beings, I'd say on average, right? Like, on average, crave some form of connection with other human beings, for to varying degrees and to varying lengths, obviously, but nonetheless, I'd say we crave that connection. And I think a lot of social media creators like took that idea and decided to prey on it. And now it's almost like it's ironic because it's almost like we're so connected to each other that we have become so disconnected from each other, you know? Like we're
Yes.
over connected. It's so that to the point where our connections are short circuiting. You wanted to like use an analogy, I guess. Like uh yeah, it's like a if you want to think about a physical connection that's like overcharged, it starts to short circuit and malfunction. I think that's exactly what's happening uh this day and age with the essence of human connection.
Hmm.
So that in terms of the broader, that's like my opinion on the broader sense. In the broader sense,
Yeah. No, I see what you mean by that.
yeah. And I feel like I sound like super, like fucking, like pretentious or something. That's not
Okay,
my.
boomer.
I'm not trying to sound like a hipster right now at all.
Yeah, whatever
Uh,
you say.
but no, this is like I'm just speaking my mind and I'm trying to convey my thoughts as clearly as possible. So, uh, yeah, but we're just too connected. There's such I wholeheartedly believe there's such a thing as being too connected, you know? Because
Mhm.
if you're eating, like, chocolate every single day, right? Imagine eating chocolate, like, every other hour, like, every single day for, like, a month. Do you think at the end of that month, you're gonna probably not give a shit about chocolate. You're probably gonna be disgusted
You
by
might
chocolate.
not, you know, you might not feel the same way about eating chocolate too. I mean, I
Exactly.
guess at the end of the day, you might hate it, you might be used to it, it will not affect, I mean, your dopamine is like,
Yeah,
totally out of whack.
exactly,
That's the
and I think
thing. Like our life is coming from natural to artificial, it's becoming, you know, just more whatever.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're really conditioned to get this instant as I said earlier, like, instant gratification, just instant pleasure. It's just connection, 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 connection to the point where it makes you question what actual connection is, you know? And I
Mhm.
think if you take a step back and actually think about the connections in your life and let them kind of air out, um, you have a chance to truly appreciate those connections. I think that's what we're lacking today.
Yeah, you
Is
know what? I'm gonna go a little bit into that. There are some people like there was this person I met one time, and I felt that they were just not the most um like I didn't feel warmth when I talked to them. I didn't feel a person. I felt
Right.
a shell. They
Mm.
weren't mean, um they weren't not interesting, but at the same time, they're just it didn't feel real, you
Right.
know? It didn't feel maybe they were shy, maybe they were something, but at the same time,
It's felt
there was
superficial,
just yeah, it felt superficial. It didn't feel like something that I
like a real human connection with somebody
yeah, it felt
that
like
involved
talking
empathy.
to yeah, like it was like watching a, a Christopher Nolan film, you know what I'm saying? Or talking to the T-180 or whatever from a Terminator, you know.
That's interesting. What do you
Exactly.
think of what do you think about that interaction specifically contributed to its lack of warmth?
I guess I guess it didn't get too personal. It was just, you know, little things, like just that we said, "Oh, I wish I did this. Oh, I wish I did that," but it didn't really feel emotional, I guess.
Yeah, talking about things that don't necessarily involve like pop culture interests or even hobbies.
Yeah. So, I don't I mean, and also the fact that they mentioned things that I feel like it made sense. It just made sense that they would know about that and seem interested about that because they're trying to attract this certain person or certain group,
Mm,
you
I
know?
understand. Trying to
So,
like meld with a certain demographic.
yeah,
Right.
that kind of thing. And I don't know. It
Mm.
just felt a
It
little,
just it didn't feel real, like you said, huh?
it didn't, it felt like talking to Alita Battle Angel from that one movie or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
But
let's break the fourth wall here. I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, look, when you're talking to someone, maybe think about asking them something on like a more, I don't know, like human level. Like how are you feeling? What are your thoughts on, I don't know, like something
global
like
warming.
dude, we don't even have to be like, even that's like relatively superficial at this rate. Like that's just
What
like
do
a
you feel
mainstream
about Donald
political.
Trump?
Yeah, at this rate, like getting into like mainstream politics is like an attempt to like feel deep. Is just kind of like, I don't know.
No.
How about
Yeah.
like how are you feeling in your life? How do you are you content with your current direction? What about life, drives you to get up every morning, and or it's like what do you appreciate the most, right? Like things like that. I feel like if you ask questions that are actually like insightful, I think you can start to form some real connections because you might get people to share things that they either don't often or contemplate with themselves or share with other people because no one really thought to ask.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are just now on their phones all the time, and not even talking. That's what the thumbnail is actually going to be, Jimothy, just two girls on their phone, and then we're just upset. Know what I'm saying? So,
Ah, interesting. I don't know why not make it like a guy. Honestly, dude, and you know what? It's your podcast. However, I'm gonna suggest that what if you made it a guy and a girl, and it's just kind of like it's like not only does it represent like the dichotomy of just, because I do think as well, like men and women are like disconnected. As like that's another thing I want to touch upon because I think it's important to touch upon that. Um, I've just had an epiphany.
yeah, say that epiphany.
All right, you know what? Fuck the thumbnail, whatever. You can do whatever. This made me realize. I think now maybe it's crazy, but I think more now than ever. I think both genders are like. I think we're like being like I said I wasn't gonna touch upon these topics, but I feel like we're being, like, kinda pushed away from each other that way, and
Yeah,
without
it's like
really
boys versus girls.
yeah, without realizing it too, because it's like on one end, you got the red pill, and You got motherfuckers being like, "Oh, like, you gotta treat a woman this way to get a woman XYZ, blah, 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 like, you gotta follow this game plan. You gotta, like" it's like this robotic attempt at human connection, and then you also have, like, on one end, girls being told by other girls, "Oh, all men are trash, XYZ, don't trust men, blah, 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 blah," like, and it's just like both sides, I feel like, have voices that are just kinda toxic and basically getting each other to resent each other and instead of just looking at each other as just other people with unique interests and unique uh, values and perspectives XYZ. It's becoming like a war, and I can't say like I don't really support any view other than like the neutral one, you know?
Yeah.
Or everything is just life is just it throws you curveballs. Uh it's pretty unpredictable and it's hard to categorize like entire groups of people as just like one thing, like say like categorizing men or women as like a monolith, I think is just the wrong way to look at life, and it's just not really good for personal growth.
Yeah. You have a good point.
It's
Uh,
just
do you want to go into the next topic? Adult sites and streaming platforms.
sure. This is a big one right here.
Yeah.
This is a shout out to all the homeboys on
Yeah.
this Discord server.
We're talking about
Uh
the hub and the fans here, if you know what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So
Hey, maybe this is a based opinion, at least among men, because I know a lot of dudes that are like super like pro no fap. I think it can be helpful to an extent. Like obviously if you're addicted to porn, then yeah, like fucking get your shit together. But I also don't think it's like healthy to like completely just like not allow yourself that release. Like it's a perfectly natural practice to like beat your meat. Um
okay.
no, I mean I'm just kidding. I mean I'm not kidding, but yeah, I mean masturbation's like just a natural thing and I think there's communities that are like no fap. They're like, yeah, bro, I become a woman magnet once I stop fapping like magic. It's like that's bullshit, dude. That's bullshit. Like there's
yeah.
just no like yeah, like I'll even like expose myself right now just for the sake of the argument. I've tried like refraining from all that good stuff, man. And I'll tell you what, all it made me was just kind of pissy, dude. Like I was just kind of pissy, you know? Like, maybe, like, in some aspects I was calmer, but it was probably like a placebo effect, but it got to a boiling point where I was just, like, not feeling like myself, and then once you get that release, it's like, "Holy shit, why was I worrying about this dumb stuff going on in my life?"
Yeah, you
All
see
I
a lot
need
of those memes, right? Where it's like after a girl does it, she's like, "Oh my god, that felt so amazing. I'm so calm now." And then it shows like a man, and then they're like, "I wish someone loved me."
I mean, there's some truth to that, man, there's some truth to that. I
There
think
is, but at the same time, I feel like men probably also see it like how girls see it because the
yeah,
thing is, you
sure.
just gotta see it in the sense that it will happen someday, and you just gotta work
Yeah.
on, how you act with people. You gotta get that Rizz.
There's this great, like, little piece that I've read on the internet, and
What?
it stuck with me, alright? Look, man, you can't force a fart, all right? Dating is like farting. You can't force a fart. You know what happens when you force a fart? You shit your pants, okay? And you don't want that to happen in the realm of dating. Like think about it. Like imagine you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this girl to like me XYZ, dude." And like you go through all these hoops and it's like the more you just force it, the more unnatural you're gonna seem. And then it's just gonna like and you're just gonna come off as like an extremely desperate person. And
Yeah.
people in general, I don't think appreciate desperation. Like I don't think desperation looks good on anybody, man or woman.
Mhm.
Uh, like a healthy dose of investment, I feel like would do. Uh, and then yeah. So obviously, like I guess Yeah, so if you try to force it, I don't think you're gonna get very good results, nor, like, engage with any healthy people because I think anyone that takes the quote unquote bait of you like playing all these games and or like just like forcing that trying to force it to happen even if it feels unnatural like is it's not going to result in something healthy.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Um, yeah, I don't know. With the adult sites, with those videos, I feel like it's I mean, I feel like there's some problems with it too. It's like, I mean, a lot of people say the thing where it's like, it distorts people's reality, but at the same time, I feel like I feel like people just want it enough to where they don't care if it's exactly like the video. But I
right.
know a lot of people say that. I think it does affect how people choose who they want to date, though, which is
Possible. Yeah, I think
not
if you're
always the best.
yeah, for sure. Cuz
But I
I
mean,
think
you should
like
always date people that you are in some ways attracted to, but at the same time,
sure.
maybe those videos aren't helping.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think there's not, you know what another thing maybe this is I'd like to view this as a based opinion. Perhaps perhaps it's not. But I would like to say that watching amateur porn versus, like, legit studio production porn is, like, a completely different experience. Like, even from, like, a conditioning sense. Like, think about it, like, you're watching this, like, studio shit, they're all making these exaggerated noises, blah, blah, blah. Alright? These people are going wild, okay? They're doing crazy shit, and and then, like, the girl is acting, like, one way, and she's all dolled up, and it's like, dude, most of the time you, like, see these porn stars without makeup, and, like, they just look like normal chicks, alright? Um, and so, like, if you're constantly used to seeing, like, these super dolled up, like, they're camera ready, man, like, and you're only seeing camera ready looking women all the time, and, like, they have fake boobs and, like, usually, like, people with nice really nice, like, way, way above average bodies are making it in these videos. Like you said, like, people are gonna be like, they're gonna be expecting that in real life when, like, that's not as common as you'd think in real life at all.
Mhm.
But with amateur porn, it's like you're seeing real people have sex, and
Yeah, of
nonetheless,
course. I really hope I don't get demonetized, to be honest with you.
well, maybe this one video might get demonetized. I don't know. I mean, you
Most
have to have
likely
it.
not, to be honest, because
You have
they
to.
only listen to some of it, but it's all good. What's up?
I'm just saying you have to grow the channel a little bit more. I think for it to really matter, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, it just
No,
doesn't.
no shade, no shade. By the way,
No,
that was not.
I don't think this video will affect the whole channel once I do get monetized. I just hopefully it doesn't become a problem. But I think it's important that we bring all this stuff up regardless of like what words we use. So,
Sure.
do you have anything else to say about the adult sites? I'm gonna keep it on the same topic, in the sense
We
that I'm gonna keep it at the same time code. So we're gonna talk about adult sites and then streaming platforms. So do you want to
I
talk
mean,
about the
we could just
streaming
hop into
platforms?
that.
Yeah, so the fans, the fans. I feel like that
Yeah.
social parasocial relationship, even in something like Twitch, that happens a lot.
Right. Oh,
You know
for
what I'm saying?
sure. Oh, for
So
sure. Huge issue. I
it
just
is.
don't think it's this is not healthy. Like these dudes need to get out and like talk, man. Like that's talk to people. All right. Don't like hide behind a screen inside a chat box trying to like donate money to some random girl that's playing video games. Like she's attractive, but yo, like listen up, dude. She's not gonna want to date you. She doesn't know who you are. She just wants your fucking money. All right. Simple as that. Okay, and like, hey, yo, that low shade on the Twitch girls that do that. Like, they're on their hustle. They know exactly what they're doing. Um, all right, and props to them. I wish I could make money just getting like girls to just donate me money. That would be sick.
You know what
I
you could do?
what's up?
You could become Finster.
Huh?
Finster. Okay, it's this guy on Twitch that dresses up as a girl, and then he is able to get a bunch of people to, you know,
That's
send him.
wild, man.
Yeah,
That's what our society has come to.
I
That's
know, and
crazy.
he makes an attractive girl. A lot of people agree. A lot of the trans people don't like him too much. I mean, a good amount do, but some don't, mainly just because of dysmorphia. Which although I do agree that
It's a
you're,
little insensitive. It can be I can see how that can be
I
perceived.
well, yeah, I do understand, but at the same time, you can't let someone else's, maybe way they, show themselves affect you. You can't
Yeah,
compare yourself to other people. You know,
I don't think everyone can always help it. That's the thing.
yeah,
That's
I get
the
that too.
crux of it
With
all.
especially with them, because it's something that they weren't born that gender, but they want to become that one, and it's fine. I get it, but at the same time, you can't you know you can't compare to people like Finster, because Finster just is just doing this to do this. He might be trans, he might not be. I think it might be they or that. I'll look into it later, but I'm just saying. I feel overall that people should just you know if they can't handle that, or they don't like it, they should just ignore it and just focus on them, focus on what they want to, what they need to believe to see themselves as that gender, so
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just me. Anyway, I'm just saying, with these things, it does make that parasocial relationship, they see these girls as some people they can have a chance with, but it's not.
No, which is really strange. It's kind of like a kinda sad delusion to fall into.
I mean, that's the thing too. A lot of guys just become girls' friends so that, like, you know, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And,
It's a real thing
guys
though,
are
for
like,
sure.
okay, I'm going to wait till this girl is, just in the right moment with me. And then I'll be fine. But then they just
I
end up
think
being
it's
friend zoned, which
yeah,
is
I
what
mean,
happens here in these parasocial relationships where you know, hit up these girls, and you just expect more from them just
yeah.
because you're paying them, but no, of course not.
Uh, I think it's complicated because, I mean, I think on one end, like, I think a lot of guys, they'll fall into the trap of, like, thinking they can handle the responsibility of being friends with a girl that they're attracted to, but more often than not, it's a pretty tough task, like, because when you're attracted to someone, like, it's not like you can just ignore it, you know? But it's
Mhm.
also not fair to that other person to, like, you guys, decide to be friends, and it's like like, this is assuming, like, they're, like, legit friends where they, like, hang out, talk about personal things, or actually, like, emotionally supportive, you know, like, on one end, it's like it sucks because I think some dudes obviously, like, from the get-go, they had, like, no good intentions, whatever, like, they just wanted to fuck. Uh, another end, I think there's guys that struggle with it, like, it's like, they might even catch feelings midway through, and it's like, you know, they try to suppress it, but then in doing so, they kinda build up, like, this whole resentment and just kinda sadness around the situation, and so they not only do they end up ruining a friendship and, like, hurting the girl's feelings, but they also, like, screw themselves over and, like, feel really bad about a situation that they didn't necessarily have to be a part of. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Um, yeah, but to be honest, overall, I don't find it too problematic when it comes to women doing it. Mainly just because, if there's a market, that's the thing. It ties back to with Tinder, like, should we blame people that create OnlyFans accounts or dating apps? I mean, that might be different, but now thinking about it, maybe it's not. Maybe it is up to the person to, pay the girl, or, use the app, you know?
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Maybe these people are trying to exploit the system. I mean, that's what, if you think about capitalism, is sometimes all about exploitation, you know? It's about
Yeah, pay
exploiting. What's up?
so you're alright, so you're thinking that if people, like, pay the girls, like, they rise up high enough amongst the ranks, like, it's gonna pay off for them.
Yeah. Wait, what sorry, what did you say that again?
Because you were mentioning that, like, like, maybe they're trying to game the system or whatever, but how can you game the system when, for instance, the system of, like, Twitch streamers, like, dude, of course the Twitch streamer is never gonna go out with any of her fans,
Mhm.
right? Never. Like, it's an impossibility. So, like, I feel like that system is inherently rigged, you know? Like, if
Yeah,
those
that's what
guys
I'm saying
try
though. They're rigging it.
what, the guys
No, no,
or
the
the girls?
girls. The
Oh,
girls
yeah, I
are
mean
rigging and exploiting it, which is what the dating apps are also doing to the
oh,
guys.
for sure, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That's the whole thing, yeah, for sure. I agree with you, yep.
If you think about it like in a like Fight Club, for example, like I don't know, I have to bring up Fight Club in this episode, but that whole movie was about like how they had to strip themselves of what society wanted them to consume and do, and they were planning on just just being fighting and just focusing on certain things that they could control. I don't know,
Right,
it's a very interesting movie, but at the same time it does say like maybe don't you know maybe consumerism is not the best. I don't
right.
know, because I mean this is also part of consumerism, these
I
whole
think that
things.
that's interesting you mentioned the whole idea of control. I wanna touch upon that
All right.
because I think, like, in general, humans don't like to be out of control. It's
Yeah.
really like it doesn't feel good. It's kind of like dysphoric in its own way to feel out of control of your life. And I think social media and like dating apps, things like that, like perpetuate that for a lot of people. It seems like there's just like they're reminded of things that maybe they want to control but they can't control. And because of that, like it's just kind of depressing. But I think coming to the understanding that you should really only be focusing on the things that you can control uh is like extremely helpful. And I think things like social media and dating apps, etc., like work against that. They make you feel out of control more than you really need to feel out of control, more than you should. They enable that feeling. I think it's not healthy.
Hmm. Yeah. I just feel with these sites, it's a lot about the consumer rather than the you know w- what, because a lot of the times when we talk about capitalism, it is a lot about the producer, or the person making the product. But in this situation, it's all about the consumer, because the consumer is the one that's doing these things that might be in some ways not the best, but at the same time, they're going to do it because they feel like it's kind of like gambling in some ways.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
like gambling, like dating apps and all that. I mean, I don't actually think that dating apps are that bad, because you could find a situation that's good, but at the same time, it's not going to be always like that. And also, just like gambling, but also, does it matter? You could make money different ways. You can meet people and have dates with people other ways, you know?
Yeah,
So that was probably the most smart thing I've said this entire podcast, to be honest. I literally just, it clicked in my head when I said that. So I don't know.
I'm happy for you, John.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy for you, Jimothy.
Or should I have not said?
What's
Should I
up?
call you? Should I call you Mega Man X?
Megan.
Mego
Never call me anything besides John, but I love Mega Man X. I will tell everyone about that. Anyway,
Mega. Is it Mego?
it's Megox. It's MegoxCast. That's what it's called. That
I just called you
Yeah, well, that's what the podcast is called. I'm called John, and then the podcast is called MegoxCast. But I
Mega
will
Ox.
It's Meg. I already said in the beginning of the
Me
podcast, stop. We're done with that. We're
MegoX.
yes, Megox. Anyway,
So I called you Mega Man X.
okay, we're stopping this. Okay, anyway, not the recording, just that
That's
aspect. All right.
hilarious, man.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you have anything
What an
else to say about the fans' websites, if you know what I'm saying?
honestly, at this rate, no, I don't. I think I'm
Okay.
done.
Let's go to the reflection, if that's fine.
Sure, let's
Okay,
wrap this puppy up.
and then we'll go into the outro because there's two separate things. But anyway, for the reflection, like, what do you think, you know, what do you think overall? Like, what do you think was the main problem? All that stuff.
The main problem of these apps,
Yeah, and what's the
everything,
solution?
the solution, right?
It can't be
It's like
simple, but you know what I'm saying.
we're
So,
writing an essay right
okay.
now. We're wrapping this up.
Yeah.
It's like the conclusion of an essay, I guess. Think about it like that. I mean, obviously, like there isn't. You're right. There is no simple solution to any of this. And if anything, dude, like I don't know if I really have any faith that enough people will do what it takes to fix anything. Like I kind of honestly see society becoming way too virtual in the future, and then we're all gonna be like rotting in VR hell. I could see that being a very real possibility. But theoretically, right? If we were to prevent that, say get the fuck off your phone and go outside, like seriously, just like go to like a forest and just think about life. Think about your life. Go to a
Take a
forest, think about
spiritual journey.
I mean, yeah, seriously, like as cliche as it might sound, like just get off your fucking phone, get off your fucking computer. Okay. Like obviously it's cliche to be like touch grass, but yeah, in a general sense, touch grass because it's like touch grass, man. Like grass was
Ugh.
has been around for all these years, and look how well it did for your parents. They were all out touching grass, okay, touching grass, bumping ass, and all right, talking about things, eating in and out, man, like
Oh,
together.
yes.
Obviously, people still do that, obviously,
Of
but
course.
like
I wanna
like they were,
they eat in and out, they in and out, if you will.
yeah, yeah, they were probably in and out a lot more than anyone else today, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, people are in and out in their own bathrooms with themselves. That's what's happening.
of course.
Or bedrooms, it depends on
We're not judging.
but yeah, like in terms of like how like solutions, yes. Okay, touch grass. As much as socializing, like look, I get it. I don't really enjoy it all that much. I'm kind of introverted. Like I'd say I'm more of an outgoing introvert in the sense that I can talk to people, be engaging, but I can't do it for too long without just hating everyone in the room. Not personally, just like I wanna get the fuck out of there and, pursue my own independent hobbies. Um, but talk to people. Talk to people, actually try to get to know them. Try to learn from people too because you don't know everything. We none of us know everything. I'd say most people have at least a little tidbit of something you could learn from. Or
Mhm.
like so, I'd recommend doing that. And then honestly, like I mean, I think that's really just as simple as that. I think we need to change our lifestyles. We need to change how we utilize the internet and all these things that are causing us to. I mean, hell, if you don't even want to get off your phone, like maybe just delete your social media apps, take a break from them, or restrict yourself. Just little things like that, lifestyle changes that'll make you just more of a functioning human being. Um, I think are all solutions, but I don't know if I have faith in the majority of Gen Zers or just people in general because hell, like even boomers are like addicted to their phones nowadays, for sure.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, hell, like I'm sure all of your parents probably glued to their phones, yo. Like it's probably what like just look around right now. If you're watching this right now, you're hearing this. Go look for your parents, see what they're doing. I bet you like a good 75% of them are like glued to their phones on like Facebook with like 20 fucking tabs open on Safari, but uh Yeah. So that would be my recommendation. It's see, the thing is there's, like, a large difference between easy and simple. Okay, the solutions are fairly simple, right? They don't really require a lot of steps, and there really isn't a whole lot of nuance to them. But I can guarantee that many people would struggle to even take the first step. Uh, but nonetheless, my point still stands. Take those steps,
Yeah,
and I
put
think
one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor.
and then eventually running across the floor.
Oh yeah, and then you'll be out the door.
Indeed,
That's a banger song from that Santa Claus stop motion. That was a banger. Rankin Bass. Oh yeah.
dude. I don't know if I know what that is.
I'll show it to you later. That's a good song though from that thing. That was like such that's probably one of the best things to watch on Christmas. It's like so good. It's so wholesome and like clever. I don't know. It's just really cool. I don't know why I went into that tangent, but anyway, do you have anything else to say? Because I wanted to say some stuff.
Go for it, John. Go
Okay.
for it.
I feel like it is more based on just yeah, individual, you know, decisions. Like I feel like I don't know why, but society has become less about being a community and being more individualistic. So the only way to fix it is to change as an individual, individually, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't know,
Yeah.
you notice that too, right? Like back then, you know, we there was more of a theme of being, you know,
Together.
together like America, just together being um like uh
Being Americans
like being
together.
in war, just being in these situations where they had to be together, being together for religion, just that kind of thing, not feeling like one, but feeling like a part of something. It
Right.
just
Like a
but
collective.
and that's not a problem to be in a world with individual, like just individual like a way of looking at it, looking at it as more of individuals in this thing, but they're not all connected in the way that maybe we were back then. I feel
Sure.
like the only way to fix it is just to be, individuals, because just and not be individuals, but be different as individuals, make choices that will benefit you into your goals and stuff like that. And that's how we succeed as a society. We get to a happy place, and we're not exploited by the system.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not trying to make any matrix thing. We're not Andrew Tate. All right, he would
Yeah, I
probably
know.
not like this episode. I think we talked
Dude,
too highly about women in this episode for him.
for him, yes, probably. I wouldn't even say like my goal was to keep this as neutral as possible, as objective as
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't think I mean, some women with the exploiting thing, not all of them do that. You know, it's just a good amount. I mean, well, not a good amount to say that there are amount of people that do
Or
that. But with some women, they just want to show how they feel, or show their body. They find it like an art, or something like
sure.
that. Maybe they see it just differently, and that's beautiful. But at the same time, there are some people that will exploit it. They know that there's a market, at least. That's the thing I'm saying. And that's not a
Yeah.
problem. I talked a lot with somebody in episode 7 about this, and they are one of my closest friends. And I'm very happy that they're able to make it work. And they're one of the most wholesome people I met. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome. I
I
mean,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's just nuanced. You can't really come to like conclusions about everybody
exactly.
because you don't know everybody. You'll never
Yeah.
know everybody.
hmm
Uh,
Sorry. Do you want to go to the outro though?
Sure, why not, man?
Because I
Let's wrap
think,
it up.
yeah, I think we can end it there. But would you like to shout anything out, though, Jimothy?
Mm. Let's see. Yo, I don't know, man. Shout out to my fellow Gen Zers. Like, look, I know shit is weird. okay, and we're all like finding ways to cope with like our own existence because it's shit is definitely like unprecedented in a lot of ways if you compare it to the rest of history, even the past 30 years. Uh, but it's all right, guys. If you I'd say if you guys take care of yourselves well, whatever that looks like for you, I think as a whole, it's going to create a positive societal impact.
Are you
So
sure you don't want to shout out any of your like, social medias or, like
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
content or OnlyFans, like stuff like that?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. No, that's all good. All right then. Yeah, let me know how you felt about Jimothy in the comments below. Let me know if you'd like to hear from him again. I sure do. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast, and you'll hear from me next week talking about something else with someone else. And yeah, I had a great time recording this with Jimothy, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.